All right, I'm going to cover some of the ways you guys can do your programming assignments. You can either uh, develop and test your code on the general servers, develop locally and test on the general servers, or develop and test locally. So I'm going to cover how you can do some of those things. If you're going to connect to general, you can either use the SSH command, or you can use putty. So putty would be your ASU, right? At general.asu.edu. And then you'll have to type in your password that you log into MyASU with and authenticate. Okay. So there's one way. You can use the Windows command prompt too if you want to do SSH. Uh, uh, this is the same if you would do it on Linux, so I'm not going to do that. But so yeah, now you're on putty, or I'm sorry, now you're on the general servers. And then this has the compiler version 11.2.1. I think what was specified is that you need to make sure that whatever you're doing, you have 11 point something. It doesn't really matter what version, but you need to make sure it's 11. Uh, so yeah, if you're going to develop and test on here, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you're going to develop locally and test on the general servers, you're going to need to move files. You can do that by using this website. You can upload your files this way. So like if you look, uh, I have an example file with like a simple program, it's hello world, and then an example text file. So the thing about this is you can only upload one file at a time. So if you're going to do a folder that you're developing in, you should zip your folder. And then that way you can upload everything at once. So if I do this and I upload, sometimes this is a little, okay, here we go. So now if you look, you should see the example.zip, and then to unzip you just do unzip. And now you'll see I have my two files here. Another thing you could do is you can use the scp copy command. I'm sorry, scp command. So let's see. If you want to just do, well, let me see. So example. So I have the same files here, but they're named differently. So if you want to just move one file, you can do this command, scp. So this is, you're copying hello.cpp to, and then your next thing is going to be where you're copying to, this remote destination, and then you're going to do colon and then the directory you want to move it to. So if we go back to putty and we do print working directory, you could just take this and copy, like, you know, if you wanted to, maybe you have a folder called like project 1 or something and you want to get the path, you can do this and then just paste it down here. So this one is going to copy, I forgot you have to authenticate this. File name argument required. I might have messed it up. Nope. Okay, we have it. Hello CPP here. If you want to move an entire directory, it's a similar command, but you're going to do scp -r. This specifies that you're doing a folder, and then you need to give it a folder. And then actually this shouldn't be here. Okay, same thing though. You're going to do the remote destination colon and then the file path you want to move it to. so now we moved the local folder, so everything in here we should see. Yeah, same thing, example.txt and hello.cpp. So you can move files around that way, or you can use this website. It's really up to you. So if you're going to run your code locally, you need to be sure that here, I'll do this. So you need to be sure that your compilers are compatible. I said that earlier, but you can check that on your, if you're using WSL, you can just do gcc-v. And this is the 18.04. This is like a little bit of an older version. And the default compiler is 7.5. You can download newer versions of the compiler, but you just need to do -11. Or, you know, if you're using a different version, but in this case you need 11. So you could do this. And you can see we have like an 11 version installed, but when you compile, you're going to need to specify you're using 11 if your default is something else. And then this one is 22.04. This one's a newer WSL Ubuntu command line. And if you do GCC, yeah, this one has like 11.3. So this one is has a compiler that's already compatible. But either way, you just want to verify that you have something that works. So if you're going to test your code, you can do it on here, or you could integrate with VS Code. So if you go to terminal and you click this drop down right here, you can select your environment. So now you can run your code. So we see we have the example.cpp. You got to compile. Just verify. Yeah, it's the right compiler. Okay. So we'll do g++ example. And then to run, we do a.out, and we get hello world. So this is nice. This is probably what I would do, and I would suggest. So you can use a code editor and have syntax highlighting and all that stuff, and still be able to test on an environment that should work with Gradescope. So there's a few steps that go into setting up WSL for Windows. I'm going to link some tutorials on how to set that up, as well as installing GCC if it doesn't already have it on your Ubuntu install. And then I'm gonna put a couple troubleshooting links in the description also, just in case something doesn't work right when you download. Oh, one thing I do need to mention. So if you move your files over, sometimes the permissions get messed up. So like you see for this hello.cpp program, you have read, write, and this last dash is execute. So this is like user, group, and other. So you, the user, have read and write permissions to this file, but sometimes these can get a little messed up. So if let's say that it's not letting you write to it or read it, you could do this command chmod 777 and do hello.cpp. And now if you look, you have read, write, execute permissions. This gives it to like everyone across the board, but you're the only one on here, so it doesn't really matter. If you wanted to be like safer about it, you could do I think it would be 744. So yeah, now you have execute, and there everyone else just had read permissions. Yeah, I think that's about everything. So I hope this helps.